Hello and welcome to the Rob Burgess Show. I'm of course your host, Rob Burgess. On this, our 304th episode, our returning guest is Ash Burgess. Ash Burgess has been a guest on dozens of episodes of the podcast. For a complete list, check the show notes. Ash Burgess has a dusty degree in religious studies and an appetite for both high and low culture. She strives to celebrate the best of every season with her young children. Follow her on Instagram and YouTube. And now, on to the show. Welcome back to the Rob Burgess Show, Ash Burgess.
Thank you.
We're joined by someone else now.
Someone who was here the last time, but
I shouldn't say they weren't here. They were definitely here.
But they're very much more here now.
Yes.
In the sense that they've broken out. They're on the outside.
Boy, am I glad I got that last episode out when I did. Got it right down to the wire. It was funny, I was getting my last episode out just as you were like telling me that we had to leave for the hospital. It was...
No, because you were like sitting there and I was like trying to sort of like low key like get you moving on some things that I wanted you to do. And I feel like you weren't like picking up the clues. I was like laying down.
I was picking up the clues. I was just like desperately trying to get things out. But anyway, we made it, and yeah, we're joined by someone else new at our house.
Every time we have a newborn, I'm stunned by how small newborns are.
Very tiny.
Like so small.
Yes.
Just like
sized extra tiny.
Yes. It really is.
But yeah. Well, we had a list of things that we wanted to do before we got going to the hospital, and I feel like in the days coming up to it, we've been ramping up trying to get things done.
I think that, it's like so many other things, getting ready for a baby is like, there's a lot of things that it's sort of too soon to do, up until the moment that you should have already done it. Mm-hmm. Because there's things like, like cleaning the house, and like, we're obviously clean our house on an ongoing basis anyway, even if we're not expecting a newborn. But when it comes to, thinking, okay, we want the house to definitely be super clean when she arrives, but obviously we're still like using our house, so, you know what I mean? It's like, things like deep cleaning that feel like if you deep clean 2 weeks before, you really are going to need to deep clean again, right? When, so I mean, like, there's stuff like that where it's just, it feels like, oh, it's too soon, we need to wait, and then suddenly it's just like, it's upon you, and it's like...
Yeah.
Like shampooing that. I'm thinking of like shampooing the carpets, for example. Like I shampooed the carpets like a month ago. And in my mind, I was like shampooing and get ready, but then it's like I was looking at the carpets again as we were like getting close to the due date, being like, yeah, I need to add this to the list of things to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were tons of things. I mean, there were things we wanted to do with the house mostly, and then also there's a lot of things as far as like things I personally wanted to either do or acquire, or like, for example, like I wanted to paint my nails. But that's a perfect example of something it's too soon until it's too late, because I wanted my nails to not be chipped. I wanted them to be like looking good at the hospital. And that's definitely like, I didn't want to paint them 5 days before going to the hospital.
Yeah.
That actually worked out really well, because I literally painted them like 2 hours before we drove to the hospital, and incidentally, like at the time I was painting them. Was it
incidentally, or did your body?
My body probably I probably went into labor because it was like, okay, we've painted our nails, now it's time to go.
You asked me to hang a picture on the wall a couple of days before, and I told you no.
But I was actually just kind of doing that to troll you.
Well, it worked.
Because to explain, you have found, and I agree with you, that it seems like one of my tells as far as I'm going to go into labor soon is that I will want to, like, it's not just that I want to, like, general nesting, like, get the house ready, because, like, of course I'm doing that, probably for, like, months before the baby. But right before I'm in labor, or when I'm in early labor, I will want you to specifically to help me hang something on the wall.
Yes.
Well, I think, okay, so I think this goes back to my first labor, which was with our second, because our first was, a C-section because he was breech. But so with our second, but my first labor, I remember, and that was a labor that was like, I was laboring for like a really long time. And I did have some things that I wanted hung up before the baby came. And so I remember I was actually, while I was in labor, trying to hang them up, but I needed your help because I kept having contractions, and so it was like hard for me to like hold the thing in place and also hang it up, and I was afraid it was going to fall on me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I think, where that started.
Yes.
But then, was there something that I wanted you to hang, like a picture in the bathroom or something, before our next baby was born, which is actually interesting because then she ended up being born in the bathroom. And I wasn't planning for her to be born in that bathroom.
But you probably felt more comfortable with the picture.
I did actually appreciate that the room was well decorated.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think that something about me is that as a very visual person, I can, like, my experience can be greatly, like, enhanced or reduced by just, like, how things are looking around me.
Care about aesthetics very much.
Yes, so, like, while I was incidentally later surprisingly giving birth in the bathroom that had the nicely hung picture, I do think I felt better because the bathroom was decorated the way I wanted it to be.
Yeah, no doubt.
Kind of like how, while I was giving birth at the hospital this time, I do think I felt slightly better because my nails looked how I wanted them to.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, sorry, go on.
No, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that we were kind of leading up to our due date kind of as if it was all going to be happening on our due date. I felt like it was like...
Well, I was kind of trying to estimate when the baby would come because my two labors prior to this one were extremely fast. Like, there's actually, like, they were, like, so fast that they fell into, I think, the category of, like, clinically fast, which is, like, 3 hours or less or something like that. Like, I had, like, two, like, basically 3-hour labors. And so with both of those, we were a bit taken by surprise. And with this one, I was trying to estimate when I would go into labor because we were, since we had decided that we wanted to try to have this baby at a hospital, we were then, I know I was feeling a lot of stress about, like, how are we going to actually get to the hospital to have the baby, given that I could potentially have another 3-hour labor, which, that sounds like plenty of time if you don't have any kids and you're just imagining that you'll go into labor and go to the hospital, but considering that we would need to get a babysitter, to our house very quickly, that's where I think a lot of stress was coming in for me, thinking, okay, how are we going to arrange this? And so trying to estimate when I would go into labor to be able to have someone lined up felt really, really important. And our last two, not only were they pretty fast labors, but they also were each within just a few days of their due date.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
So that's why I was estimating, like, my estimate of being like, okay, she's coming on her due date really was having to do with being like, okay. One of ours, I probably, I woke up in labor and it was just barely past midnight on her due date. And the other one, I couldn't remember if he was 1 or 2 days past his date. It was very close either way. So I was assuming that that's my pattern because I do feel like bodies tend to follow patterns. And even though my first labor was like, I think I was 6 days past my date, I know the first labor's often, later and longer, so I was just thinking, okay, based on the two most recent ones, I think I know what's going to happen, and I'm hoping that my estimate's somewhat right, because our big plan was, to have your mom come to our house for the weekend that I was due, hoping that either, between, like, the day before, the day of, and the day after, we were really, really hoping that she would come, because then that big stress of we have to call someone and they have to race to our house is solved if she's already here. And that was, our preferred person to watch the kids anyway. So it was like, okay, we're kind of gambling and hoping that plan would work out.
Yeah. So it was Friday evening, and my mom came up, and everyone kind of went to bed, and I was obviously, like I said, trying to get my podcast done, and you were on the bed, and you looked like you were starting to go through it a little bit.
Well, okay, so thinking back, it's potentially I went into labor earlier in the day, but it's hard to call because, like, earlier in the day, there was a certain point after which I started to feel kind of sore and crampy, but not really more sore and crampy than I had felt just in the days prior. So because that later ramped up, I could now think back and be like, okay, that was the beginning. But at the time, it wasn't, comparably different than the general way I had been sometimes feeling. Because, like, you remember there was a day, a few days before, where you called your mom and were like, maybe get ready to come up just in case, because I was telling you that I wasn't feeling, that I was feeling kind of. So there's, because for me, I feel like, and I'm sure for most people at the end of the, towards the end of the pregnancy, there's days where you're feeling, sore and more crampy, and it's not necessarily because your labor's starting. So
she was also hanging very low.
Yes, and I had been feeling her hanging low for a few days because I was just feeling, I remember specifically feeling when we were in the car that, and I had remembered feeling this way with, specifically with Emerald, with one of our older kids, where it was uncomfortable to sit in the car because it's like bending, it's like she was so low that she was like, it was uncomfortable to like bend my legs at the angle that I needed to like sit in the car. And that's when I knew, like, okay, she's really low, but she'd been like that for a few days. And but so there were those signs, but we were still still like kind of inconclusive. And then we took a long walk, but I've been taking a long walk like a couple times a day for months. So that wasn't necessarily like out of routine, like a longer walk than usual or anything. We just kind of took a little walk around the neighborhood with your mom once she got up here. And then I was, during the walk, I felt like a little bit sore, but not really. I was definitely not thinking like, okay, this is it.
You also drank your tea.
Yes, I had some raspberry leaf tea, which I strongly believe in. And here's the thing, I've read about this, and it's one of those things where everything I've read says, no, it won't put you into labor, and it's supposed to be just good for helping, like, it tones your uterus, and so it's good in the third trimester. Like, supposedly drinking it will make your labor be faster and go better later. But everything says it doesn't put you into labor. I personally do think that it has some effect on me. Like, I believe in my own anecdotal experience that raspberry leaf tea is effective. Like, just as far as, like, ramping it up. So it's, like, normally towards the end of the pregnancy, I'd have 1 cup a day, but then it's, like, right when I'm like, okay, now I could be going into labor, it's like I'm having, like, more or, like, stronger brew. And I do think that makes a difference. But then also, so we came back from the walk, and I went to paint my nails. Because I was like, okay. And it was like a very much like, normally I would have been getting ready for bed with the kids, but instead I was like, I'm going to go outside and paint my nails. Because I really want to make sure they get done. And it's really good I got them in then, because
couldn't have done it any later.
But it was funny because after I painted my nails, I came inside and I had a conversation with your mom where she was like, "Are you feeling anything yet?" And I was like, "No, not really." And then I feel like 2 hours later we were like driving away.
We were like rushing away. So it was about like what, like 11 something.
I think it was about 11 when I told you that we should actually like maybe like actually put our final bags in the car, because we had preloaded the car also. Like, that's how like, ready we were trying to be.
Mm-hmm.
We preloaded the car, so we just had a few things we were, like, our last grabs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just, from my end of things, like, after I came up from painting my nails, I like, got into bed, and I was sitting here, and at that point, I was not thinking, okay, I'm in labor. I was just super uncomfortable.
Like what part specifically?
Like in the uterus area.
I mean, I guess I don't know.
No, I'm just saying it that way because it sounds kind of weird that I would not be thinking that I'm in labor when I'm like super uncomfortable in the uterus area. But I tend to get super uncomfortable in the uterus area throughout pregnancy. I mean, like, I would say probably like the whole first trimester, my uterus like hurts a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole third trimester, it can just sometimes, you know, feel sore.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I was super uncomfortable in the uterus area, I wasn't necessarily like, okay, I am going into labor. Mm-hmm. I was more just like, I'm obviously close to going into labor, and so I'm really feeling a lot of discomfort. It was only when I was like, you know, it seems to me that the discomfort that I'm feeling seems to kind of be starting and stopping. That I was like, maybe I should like...
Were you saying it was contracting?
Well, I'm just
how you would characterize
seeing, you know how contractions like contract and then, you know, there's like some pause and they contract. So
kind of a rhythmic.
But it's not that I was feeling like any sort of a rhythm to the discomfort. It was more that I was thinking, okay, so I'm super uncomfortable, but I am noticing the discomfort is kind of more acute at times.
I like how you showed me your note on your phone where you're like, do you see a pattern here? It was like literally like every 6 minutes you like...
Well, because that's when I had like thought, okay, maybe I should start tracking when this discomfort feels more acute, because perhaps something is in fact happening, and then it like obviously was. Like when I looked at the pattern, I was like, okay, this is definitely happening.
Yes.
And that's when I was like, all right, Rob, do you see a pattern here? Mm-hmm. I was starting to put the pieces together, which it sounds like I have no idea what I'm doing. It's so strange because like this is the 5th time that I've done this, but I do feel like, you know, before I had ever had any labor and delivery, basing what I thought it would be like off of just like other people's stories and movies and stuff, you imagine that it's going to be like you're out to eat at a restaurant. Then suddenly you're like, I think my water just broke. And then you dramatically drive to the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that kind of what... Wasn't that what you were picturing like before we had kids? Like, that's kind of how it goes.
I've only been through this process with you, really, so I can't compare it to anyone else. But it seems like what happens with you is it comes on kind of slow build, and then it ramps up. Things escalate very quickly near the end.
Yes.
And then by the time your water breaks, it's like you better just be ready to like.
Yes.
Go.
That's the thing, is that with me, and I have learned since that this is, I think it's somewhat common, like that there's a lot of women whose water doesn't break until the end of the labor. But I feel like the story that we always see is a woman being like, my water has broken, and then
we gotta get to the hospital.
Like, that's kind of the movie scene.
Yeah.
And that's also, I feel like, what had happened to my mom. So, like, when she told me her going into labor with me story, it was always like, she was, like, working in her garden, and then her water broke, and then she called the midwife, and all these things happened. And that fits more with the narrative of everything I saw in movies and things. So I always assumed that would happen. But no, with me, I think with me, it's like when my water breaks, it's like 10 to 15 minutes out from like the actual baby coming. Yeah. Which, I mean, but we can get to that part of this story later.
I don't want to skip that part of the story.
But still, I'm just saying, so that's like, that is one thing that I feel like before actually going through the pregnancy and everything, I did have this major assumption that my labor would begin with my water breaking. As opposed to just beginning with discomfort that was very similar to discomfort that I'd been feeling all pregnancy long, but then having it kind of escalate to the point where I was like, okay, this is actually something.
So we went to the hospital and we just sat outside the hospital for a while.
Well, and that was kind of the plan that we had kind of talked through before, because since, like we said, we knew that this labor could be quick. We wanted to go to the hospital immediately. So we weren't going to wait for, normally, I don't remember what the standard is. Is it supposed to be like your contractions are 3 minutes apart or something and then you leave for the hospital? If I waited until that and left for the hospital, I would just probably give birth in our yard or something. Which, at that point, and I mean, that's basically what happened with I didn't give birth in the yard. But what I needed, I gave birth inside the house. But my point is that with the last 2 labors, we went in assuming that we had more time, and so then we really were kind of overtaken by events. And so with this one, we were like, okay, we're not going to wait until the traditional leaving for the hospital time. As soon as we're like, okay, this is labor, we're just going to go to the hospital. Even if it turns out it's not really labor and we get sent home, that would probably be better than not making it to the hospital. Because if, you know what I mean? I didn't want to do an in-between. Like, we were planning to go to the hospital, so I wanted to really make a good attempt to get there. But if we couldn't get to the hospital, I wanted to stay home. I wasn't interested in giving birth in the car. To me, that seemed, like, uncomfortable.
Yes.
I mean, I think we could have made it work, but, like, also then
you brought the pad or whatever.
Yes, I did. I did bring, like, a waterproof pad. I like to be prepared.
No, it's fine. I'm glad you did that.
I feel like if I hadn't put that pad in there, I probably would have given birth in the car. I do feel like things like that are like, if you prepare, then it's probably going to be fine. But if you don't prepare, it's like totally going to happen. Yeah.
But by the time we had like called the doctor and told them that we were going to be coming in soon, I remember you were like, well, maybe they'll send us home. And I was like, I didn't say this, but I was like, I don't think they're going to send us home.
Only because, and I think this is pretty common, but once we got in the car and actually drove to the hospital, I felt like the contractions that I was having spaced out a little bit. I think when we were at our house, it was like 6 minutes, and then it was like 5 minutes, and by the time we were leaving, it was bordering on like 4 minutes. I think by the time we were in our car and then at the hospital, it was like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. So I was kind of like, there was enough time between contractions that I would each time think, oh, well, maybe they've gone away. You know? And that's a different experience for me also, because with previous labors, I felt like at the point when I realized I was in labor, the contractions were just back to back. Even with my labor that was really long, like the first labor that I had, you know, I did have a long period of time where there was a space between the contractions, but I also had like a long time where it felt like I was just back to back. And with the other 2 really fast labors, I felt like as soon as I was in labor, it was just like there was no break between contractions.
Yeah.
Whereas this time, there was that kind of, you know, that actual break, which made me think, okay, maybe it's not really happening. So we sat there for a while, kind of being like, should we go in? We waited until we actually got to the hospital to call my doctor's office and be like, okay, we think we're in labor and we're coming to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then we sat for a little while longer. So even though we left our house at 11, we probably didn't go into the hospital until like it was
1:30 maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that, or maybe 1, yeah. So we were out there for a while, but yeah, we went inside. Well, you went inside once to use the bathroom, and then we snuck back out.
Yes.
But we went back in for good. I think it was about 1.
And then, so when we got in, I did feel a little bit. I mean, I think they already had our information and everything since it was the hospital that we'd like signed up to use. But I still felt a little bit ridiculous being like, hi, I think I'm in labor, just because, you know, you normally, I think you're supposed to be so far into labor when you get there that you're like, you wouldn't be like, hi, it's me, I'm here to check in, like you're checking into like a hotel or something, you know?
Exactly.
Like, so I did feel a little bit, I don't know, like, it's not like I wanted to, like, embarrassed almost, like, just to be like, hi, I'm in labor, you know what I mean?
Well, we had to enter through the emergency room, so it kind of felt weird to be like, hi, emergency room, here.
Yes, exactly. I think if we just could have gone... Exactly. I think if we could have gone up the, like, mother-baby elevator or whatever, it would have felt less weird, but to go into the...
on a weekend, too, during the middle of the night. So.
Exactly, so I think they close those doors and you have to go through the emergency entrance.
Yeah.
But still, it did feel weird to, yes, you're right, be in the emergency room being like, hello, I'm in labor. I know I look fine, but, you know. But anyway, so I was worried based on that they were going to check me and be like, you're not in labor, like you're not even dilated or something.
Yeah.
Because that was a fear that I had, was that because I was trying to get to the hospital, because of having had these really fast labors previously, I anticipated that being in the hospital environment would slow my body down. Just because, I did think part of the reason my other 2 labors were so fast was because I was at home and comfortable, and my body was like, all right, let's just do this while we're here. Mm-hmm. Whereas I knew that being in the hospital, I would probably, like, slow down, but my fear was that I would slow down, like, greatly and then be, like, trapped, miserable, like, excruciatingly laboring in the hospital for, like, 48 hours or something.
Yeah.
Which I really, really did not want to have happen.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we're racing to the hospital to get there what seems like super early because we're anticipating a fast labor, I was also thinking, but what if this actually plays out a different way and now I'm just trapping myself here? Mm-hmm. So that was kind of why I was hesitant to, like, go inside. Mm-hmm. But I was relieved when they checked me that I was actually, like, 4 centimeters. Mm-hmm. And they said, like, my cervix was, like, super thin and, like, she was, like, really, like, moving into position. So they were like, all right, we're checking you in, Mm-hmm. So that was good, and then, but I was still just like, I was still in, like, that very early phase of labor where you normally wouldn't have gone to the hospital, so we walked around the halls a few times. Mm-hmm. And that was good, and then they also got me a pump to, like, pump and try to, like, help get the contractions going that way, and I think the pumping really did a lot. Mm-hmm.
But your milk came in, too.
Well, it had a lot of colostrum.
Colostrum, yeah.
Which I was excited to see how much there was, because I had been afraid to do any pumping prior to that, because I know some people will pump, like, I think even a few weeks before delivery, just to gather colostrum. But I was afraid to do that because just with my history, I was afraid, okay, if I do that, I may actually just put myself into labor before we're ready.
Yeah.
And then I was going to pump, actually, on, like, that night, like, before we went to the hospital. I had gotten the pump out, and then I was, like, feeling so crummy, I was, like, I just didn't even have it in me to pump, because I was just, like, sitting there, like, in bed, like, not feeling good. But then I do think pumping at the hospital did help to get my labor going, because it was, for a while, it was just stuck in that kind of pattern of, like, in labor, but, like, it's definitely not, like, super serious yet.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. But I thought the people at the hospital were helpful.
I did too, and I was really relieved at how helpful they were because, well, first of all, I did have certain things that I was hoping for with the labor, as far as I was hoping that I could get through the labor without using any kind of, like, pain medicine or anything. Like, I just wanted to. Not because I think there's necessarily anything wrong with getting help, because I was also open to the possibility. Like, I had thought about it, and I was, especially in that scenario where we were going to be trapped at the hospital for, like, a really long time, mm-hmm. Then I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll just get an epidural. Mm-hmm. Because I think I feel like for me there's a time frame where it's like, if I could get through this within a reasonable amount of time, mm-hmm. I can endure this, and then my thought being that the recovery is probably better. Mm-hmm. So it's worth it to invest now for, like, the future, just mm-hmm. for me and the baby, maybe it being better. But then I think there's a tipping point where if the labor is just too excruciating, I was thinking, okay, maybe then I'm going to be in worse shape if I don't, like, get some help, so maybe I would need something. Mm-hmm. But I was really hoping that I could just kind of get through it. Mm-hmm. And I was also really hoping to do it without getting any sort of an IV. Like, I didn't want any sort of, like, IV fluids or Pitocin or anything like that. And I was able to end up, meeting both of those goals, so I was happy about that.
You were.
And I was happy too because like when we first got there, I was a little bit worried because our nurse, who ended up being fantastic, just like when I first saw her, I was worried about like her general vibe. Because, I mean, she was very like, she had kind of like a, how would you describe her?
I think you said Southern Belle. I think that would probably sum it up.
Yes, and she did later tell me that she's a traveling nurse, so it makes sense she's like not from here.
Yes.
Like she's from like I think somewhere like more southern, because she definitely had like a very, very Southern Belle and like a very like Southern Belle kind of aesthetic. Which, and then combined with, she immediately like as she's checking me in was like, "Do you want me to like break your water?" And I was like, no, because that was like one of the things that was like on my birth plan where I was like, I don't want this. So I was kind of thinking based on that. And she was like, oh, do you want me to like strip your membranes? And like she asked me several things in a row that were like things that I specifically on my birth plan was like, I definitely don't want to do these things unless, you know, unless we're overtaken by events and it's an emergency and I'm considering, you know, some sort of options or whatever. But these are not things that I'm hoping will happen. It's just a matter of course. And so just her kind of like leading with those things, I was kind of thinking like, oh no, like I don't know if this is like we're going down a path together that's like not, we're like, you know. But then she ended up like, I mean, she had, it turned out, read the birth plan, because then she seemed to know what I wanted, and she actually had a lot of like good suggestions for, I feel like, the labor.
Yeah, like with breathing and, you know,
like some breathing and like positions, because I ended up laboring like once the labor really got going. So like after we had walked around and after we had pumped, which were, I mean, both things that she had suggested, I ended up laboring just like standing up and kind of like leaning on the side of the bed, which was interesting because that wouldn't be what I would have like if I had like been planning. I don't know if I would have anticipated that that's how I would have ended up. But it ended up working pretty well. I mean, the thing was that one of the things I was worried about was, since I knew I wasn't going to be able to labor in the water, because they did have a shower I could labor in, but I just, somehow the idea of the shower seemed like it could end up being worse than not getting in the shower, because then it's like, if the shower isn't working as well as you would want it to be working, because I knew that compared to laboring in a bathtub, it just wasn't going to be. I didn't want to be in a situation where I was then wet and somehow uncomfortable, and like I was thinking about getting in and out of the shower, and I didn't want to do that. And so I didn't have a clear plan in my mind about how I actually wanted to labor. But standing up actually ended up working well.
Worked well. It worked a little too well, I would say, sometimes.
Okay, well, let's get... Okay, so I feel like yours, like, just because there was a moment where you feared I was going to give birth on like, standing up and, like, just...
It wasn't just me. So, from my perspective, what happened was... you were standing up, you were having me push against your hips and kind of back side with these like massage balls to like provide like the counter pressure. You seemed like you were pretty committed to this stance that you were in, and the nurse, I thought, helpfully suggested that maybe given the timing and intensity of the contractions and kind of progression that we've seen, I think had your water broken by that point? Yes.
I think after my water... Well, I think
yes, because it was right after your water broke.
She knew that when my water broke, the baby was going to come, because we had... I mean, based on where I was in the labor, but also because, like, I do feel like she really, like, listened to me and heard what I was saying when I'm, like... when we talked about, like, my previous labors. So, like, she was fully prepared to be like, okay, I know that when your water breaks, the baby's going to come.
Yeah.
And so, like, she was working with that idea. Because, like, I also heard her, like, on, like, the phone or whatever with the doctor being like, okay, her water's about to break and then the baby's going to fly out. Like, I heard her, like, saying that to them. So, like, I feel like she was, like, very on track with, like, what was going to happen.
Yes. Also, interesting side note about the water breaking. I thought before I had kids that I would, like, it would just kind of be like something subtle.
No, it's very dramatic.
It's very dramatic.
Not even
Remember
dramatic
that one
in the same
time?
way.
Which one was it? Where
With
it made
Emerald,
that sound?
it made like a popping sound, like a loud popping sound.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like I was with Emerald. Okay, just to flash back slightly to like Emerald, which was our first vaginal delivery.
Mm-hmm.
With her. And maybe there was more pressure because she had been like more pressure on the bag of water because I'd been laboring for longer.
Yeah.
But it was like a loud popping sound.
Mm.
And I remember it was a loud popping sound, and then like a bunch of stuff came out, and I remember you like panicked and pressed like the panic button. Well, because I think we were just by ourselves in that like laboring room when it happened.
That took me by surprise.
So yeah, well, and I think too there was like some blood, and you were like, oh my, like
things are.
I think you just like were like, ah.
I've never seen anything like that before. Yeah, time to hit the panic button.
But anyway, so then jump forward to the next two labors. With both of them, I don't think it made a sound.
No.
But it was definitely like
it's dramatic.
Ploosh.
Yes.
Well, I think with Lilac, I don't think it was as dramatic because I feel like with her my water broke when you hit. I think my water broke before we realized how far along things really were. Mm-hmm. And you were still trying to load the car, and you not realizing how like in labor I was had like asked me if I could like between contractions or something like look for like the birth plan. Mm-hmm. And so I had like gotten out of because I had been like in the bathtub like laboring, and I'd gotten out of the tub to look for the birth plan, and I remember like some water trickling. But at the time, because it was different than like the big pop and the splash with Emerald, I was kind of like, I don't know, like I kind of just thought like, I don't know, maybe I peed myself, like who knows, like a lot was happening, you know. With Kingsley though, I remember it was very dramatic because I remember it was like when my water broke, I feel like I remember my stomach like changing shape as the water.
Was it in the bath?
Yes, because I was in the bath.
Okay.
I was in the bath, and then I remember it was just like it was just like extreme.
Well, that's the other thing too, as an observer, is that I can tell when the baby's coming visually from the outside.
Much more visually than you would like think.
Seeing like
the entire
literal shape of
form.
the baby moving down your like torso.
Well, because I think once the water breaks,
there's nothing stopping.
Then I think
you're
the
just
stomach
headed down the corridor or whatever.
But also, I think the stomach kind of shapes around the baby after the water breaks. You know, the water is kind of what's making it just be a dome.
Yeah.
Whereas then it just kind of is actually like a baby-shaped like protrusion going downwards. But anyway.
But anyway, your water had
So at the point when so go back to your perspective, because then I want to rewind a little because there's a little more details from before that I wanted to get in.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I don't want to step on that.
Well, okay, so I was laboring mostly like I was just like kind of on the side of the bed, and you were doing counter pressure, which we hadn't done counter pressure in any of my other labors, and the counter pressure was really good. Like I know it was a lot of work for you, but I think that so I was also using combs, and I had used the comb in my last labor, and the comb was really helpful. This time the
comb just redirects the pain.
Yes, the idea is basically that you hurt yourself really badly in a different place, and so your body focuses on that pain instead.
How do you make sure you don't break the skin with the comb tines or whatever?
I mean, you don't. I don't know. Like,
okay.
Well, okay, so I mean, you just I don't know.
But they make these combs specifically for this purpose.
But I regret buying the labor combs though, because so in my first labor I just used
combs now.
Probably should. I mean, they weren't that expensive, but still, okay. So with Kingsley, our fourth, I had used just some like cheap plastic combs, and this time I was like, those combs worked really well. I'm going to like invest in these like wooden labor combs, which when I say investment, they were like $8, so it's really not like that big of an investment. It's more than I paid for the cheap plastic combs, though.
Yes.
But then I also got some cheap plastic combs, and then the cheap plastic combs seemed smaller or something to me, so then I ended up taking the original combs that I used for Kingsley out of your drawer in the bathroom and putting them in. So I had 3 different sets of combs.
I need to find those. I was trying to comb my hair today and they were gone.
Oh, they're probably still in my labor bag.
Oh, okay.
But those were actually the ones I ended up using. So I ended up using those same ones that I had used with Kingsley again. So I could have not bothered getting these 2 other sets of combs. But it's just, you know, when you think you want options or you're like, this works so well, maybe I can upgrade, but then the upgrade isn't actually better. So anyway, I had the combs, which were helping. And then I still needed more help because obviously not being in the water was just like very bad. But I feel like between the combs and the counter pressure, somehow I was able to like continue on. And I knew, and you knew, and the nurse knew when my labor transitioned to the point of being really serious, because it was the time when I was like looking at the clock and I was like, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this.
Well, the monitors on the screen, one of the fields shows on a kind of line graph the contractions, and you could literally see the like humps getting more closer together until it was like almost like just continuous, you know.
But also, I mean, you pointed out before that you knew in my previous labor when I was like, I can't do this, that it was like time to do it.
Well, that's a separate thing. But yes, no, like you're very self-contained. I've always said your family's motto should be never let them see you sweat. you always seem like you have things under wraps. And self-confident, and you know what you want, and you're like, you've thought about it, especially when it comes to things like this. And I just feel like when you are like, I can't do this, that's when I know that's the last thing before it's like really happening. Like it's almost over at that point. We're 95% of the way there when you're like, I can't do this. It's like, oh, but you have to, and you already have, so you just have to like push past that little paddle, you know.
And it's interesting too that you use that phrase, you have to and you already have, because that's actually kind of my like mental way of getting through labor, which is something that I've used like in the last 3 of my labors, because I didn't realize this with Emerald, and I wish I had, because maybe that labor would have been easier for me. And this is a technique that I adopted actually from that that meditation app.
Oh, Sam Harris waking up. Yeah, we should get that again.
We should, because I actually used a lot of like mental techniques that I gained from that to like help with that. And that mental technique of like any like whatever discomfort that you're feeling, you've actually already survived, because like your body's registering the pain after you've already like it's already happened to you. You've already survived it. You're just experiencing it now, but you've already gotten through it. And just kind of thinking of it that way. And that's like the way that I try to look at each contraction. It's like, it's just like, okay, I've experienced this, and you know,
it's in the past. It's already
it's like I'm just moving through this. Well, that's the other mental thing that, and this isn't something I got from that, but this is just like my own mental thing that I've realized as far as like how to get through labor pain for me anyway, is and like where in my first labor I didn't realize this, and I think that it kind of like took me into like a worse place than if I had realized this. Is like in my first labor I was thinking of dealing with labor pain as like you want to escape the pain. You're trying to find a way to not be in as much pain. You want to escape from the pain. And I think for me, trying to run from it is worse than just being like, you can't escape it. You need to stay. Because I think when you try to escape the pain, your body's natural mechanism is to maybe like try to disassociate, like to go too far internal, or maybe like too far external, as opposed to like, I think for me it's very important to like stay very much present in my body, even though I'm experiencing something where I would like to escape. Trying to escape is actually going to make it worse, like for me mentally somehow, is something that I realized. But anyway, so I was laboring there, doing the combs and the counter pressure, And then my water still hadn't broken, and I was at that point where I was saying, man, I was looking at the clock, and this labor went on. It was not a 3-hour labor. I feel like it ended up being, if you count from 11 when I decided I was in labor.
7 hours.
Yes, which I know that for a lot of women that would be a pretty fast labor. Because I know a lot of people, and even with Emerald, I feel like I was in labor for 2 days. But for me, I feel like I'm more of a sprinter than a long range. Like for me, it's I can endure almost anything if I think that there's a limit to how long I have to do it for. If I think that it could be going on for days, then that's when it's not good. So I was looking at the clock and being all right, how much longer do I have to do this? I don't really think I can do this anymore. I was thinking in my mind, should I cave in and ask for the epidural or some other thing? I was but obviously you were okay, look, you're very close,
Yes, but you can.
And the nurse too. She was the nurse was this is when the real work comes in, and you're very close, you're almost there,
Because that's the sign that it is close, is that you're feeling that you can't do it. It's that intense, but it's that intense because we have arrived. This is the moment.
Yes.
So
she was basically when your water breaks, I think it's just going to be time.
Yeah.
But my water hadn't broken yet.
But then,
well, I did some squats.
Oh yeah.
And every time I did a squat, I could just feel getting closer, and the nurse was your water's gonna break if you do that again. And so I did it again, and it was
Definitely
splash, dramatic splash onto the floor.
Water world.
Yeah, that was the most dramatic, just I think because I never had my water break when I was quite in that position, maybe.
Yeah, it was like a water balloon hitting the side of a building.
Yeah, no, it really went to a lot of places. There was a lot of spray.
Oh yeah.
But that's where that brings us to the point where you're saying that you feared I was going to just give birth onto the floor.
I was thinking it, and then the nurse came around and literally put her hands underneath you, ready to catch, in case you were
Well, I think because at that point too, my natural urge to push was taking over.
Yeah.
And the nurse was suggesting. The
natural urge to get on the bed was not taking over.
Well, the nurse was suggesting that I should relocate to in order to not give birth.
You were increasingly insistent. I felt she said it once, and you're no, and she's you really should. And I was she shot me this look, get her on this bed.
Well, but the thing is, okay, so it wasn't that I was necessarily not planning to get on the bed so much as just I didn't feel capable of getting on the bed at that moment.
And that is why we were concerned that
but I knew
that
I knew that I just needed to gather my strength.
Yeah, sure.
I just needed a minute to kind of and I realized that you're thinking, what if the baby comes in the next contraction? But I knew that she wasn't there yet. I could feel that she was still far up.
I didn't feel we had a long time to wait.
We didn't have a long time, but it was only 1 or 2 contractions, and then I got on the bed, right?
But anyway, yes, we.
But anyway, because first the nurse was suggesting that I might try going on the bed on my hands and knees.
But that is how you went with Emerald.
What's interesting is with Emerald, I went on my hands and knees, and that was exact. But
she came out so fast when you.
But I think the reason that position felt good with Emerald is because she was sunny side up.
Okay.
Whereas this baby was not, and with this baby, so with Emerald, I got on my hands and knees and was this is how I'm staying. With this baby, the nurse was maybe you could try going on your hands and knees, and it was immediately no. It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. It was something about the position was just so wrong.
So then you hopped right back off the bed, and then we were oh no.
But then I laid down and I got into a different position.
Yes.
So
you did get.
So I ended up in a position with we raised the back of the bed up, so I was kind of in a laying almost like a squat because of how far up I was sitting. And that ended up working out for me.
Yeah, totally. You weren't that long.
That felt like a long time though, because I was pushing for. Would you say I was pushing for how long?
I don't know. Half hour.
Yes, which to me is a really long time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with Emerald, did I push for maybe like 10 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
And then with Lilac, I think I only pushed like twice. I mean, with her, I realized that she was crowning, and then I was like, I should probably push her out. And so I pushed once, and most of her came out, and then I pushed again, and then the rest of her came out.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like the easiest pushing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of, that would be like, I realized that's just like super easy, but like I would like that to be the standard.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Kingsley, it was a little harder than that, but not much. Like I was at the point where
you just sounded one note and you were through it.
Yes, like exactly. Like with him, I mean, I that's the thing with him. I think I was like pretty silent through the whole labor.
You didn't make much noise at all.
I just was like, ah, and then like.
I can't imitate it exactly, but it was just one kind of tone, and then you were through it.
Whereas, so it's interesting because like even after the labor, like both of the nurses that had been there during the labor told me like you were so like contained and controlled. I actually felt like I was like the most unhinged I've ever been during this labor.
Not at all.
I feel like comparatively, because I mean compared to like with Kingsley where I sounded one note, like I feel like I made more sounds.
Yeah, but that was like award-winning performance. Like...
But I'm just saying this time I definitely feel like I vocalized a little bit more.
Sure. But that's okay. I saw what was happening. You had the right to vocalize.
I'm not saying I didn't have the right to vocalize. I'm just saying, like, from my perspective, I felt like I was just, like, completely off the chain. But, like, everyone else is like, oh, you're so
I mean, maybe for you, but...
For me. Just for me, like, internally.
I think on the scale of human experience, you're not
yes.
that far off this baseline.
Well, because I also tried that thing, which actually this did help, that weird thing that I was doing with my mouth, which you were very confused by.
Yeah, I just thought you... Well, I think the nurse thought you had gone to sleep, too.
No, because I was doing this. It's a thing where you sort of buzz your lips. Mm-hmm. But it actually... It's kind of in the same vein as, like, the thing with the combs and the counter pressure. It's just, like...
The buzzing of your lips takes your mind off the pain elsewhere.
It's not even it takes your mind off of it. It's, like... It actually, like, physically, because there's a different sensation happening, it distracts from your ability to feel the other sensation or something. Mm. It's hard to describe, but somehow it did help. Well, because, okay, and, like, part of the reason I needed to, like, try other things was because part of the reason I didn't want to get on the bed was because I knew once I got on the bed, especially once I realized I didn't want to go on my hands and knees, I knew you wouldn't be able to do the counter pressure anymore. Mm-hmm. And I felt like the counter pressure was really the only thing that was allowing me to survive labor at that point. Yeah. So the idea of giving that up...
I get that.
Seemed like a great loss.
I still didn't think that was the optimal position for us to be in that moment.
But I also agreed that was not optimal because I did, like, get into a different position.
Yes, you did. To your credit.
Yes, and then I pushed for, like, 40 minutes, which felt, to me, like, a lot of work.
Well,
I just felt like she was really... Well, I think just because, like, with Lilac, by the time I realized she was coming out, she was already, like, there. So to be just pushing and feeling someone, she felt like she was so far up in my body.
Yeah. I felt like maybe since you were in, I don't know, maybe the position of it caused some of your pieces to shift around so that maybe the way wasn't completely clear.
Well, yes, because technically the position that I was in, like being on the bed like that, is like supposed to be like the worst position for pushing a baby out. That's why like the hands and knees that the nurse suggested originally is actually... I think that's, like, the hands and knees is, like, the primal, like, human pushing a baby out position. Yeah. That's, like, actually theoretically more optimal, but just, like, my body told me that I needed to go a different way, so.
I don't know the technical name for anything, and frankly, I don't know how much you want me to say about it.
I mean, I really want you to say anything about anything, like, super weird. I don't know.
I'm just trying to think of, like, the curvature of the canal, basically.
Yeah, I don't really know, and that's the thing is that, like...
It's kind of a bend a little bit, because you have to get under the pelvis bone,
yes,
right? So
yes.
That's there, so it's kind of got to go up.
Well, the thing is, right? I mean, this is where I think having so much anatomy that's so internal is challenging, because it's like, it's my body, and, like, I still can't, like, see in there. This is why, remember the other day when I was telling you that I wish that I owned a speculum? Yeah. And I could tell that was, like, super weird. Yeah. But I think it would be really interesting just to be able to do, like, a personal self, like...
I mean, I guess since my experience is more of an external nature.
Exactly,
my own
you
body.
see all of your pieces, like.
I mean, I don't see all my pieces, but I see a fair amount.
You see kind of the main bits or all that.
Oh, sure.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, so much of what I have going on is internal that it's, you know. It's hard to know exactly what's happening there sometimes, or like all of the like names of like the various curvatures, as you would put it.
Absolutely.
But
then we had never met the doctor, but she seemed good.
She seemed nice, yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, she was. It's so funny how I feel like this has been our experience, like generally in hospitals. I feel like the nurses do like so much work, and then there's like certain little things that the doctor swoops in for. Like for my entire labor, I feel like the nurses were like working, and then they basically just had the doctor come in like when I was pushing. Although I did think the doctor did a good job as far as like helping to kind of guide the baby out. So, I mean, really, they're just there to make sure that that phase of things goes okay.
But everything went as it should.
Yeah, I think she did a good job as far as like, I mean, they're trying to make sure the baby gets out safely, but then also they're trying to like, you know, decrease the, you know, tearing or whatever that could happen. And I do think the doctor did a good job in that department.
Definitely. But I do remember, because one of your things was that you wanted to feel her head as she was coming out, right? Yes.
Well, because I wanted to do that again because with one of my other labors, I had, because like as I mentioned before, I didn't realize that Lilac was coming out until I was like, man, there's a lot of pressure down there. And I felt, and I was like, oh, well, that seems like a head. So I just wanted, and I felt like that was a cool experience. And I also feel like it's kind of motivating if you're like, okay, there's someone there, I can really try harder to get them out.
But you've been pushing for, like you said, about 40 minutes at this point, and she
really
wasn't there yet. Like, I could see, like, she was coming soon. She would be here, and also just from the outside, too, you could see, like, the shape of the baby moving ever further down.
But the thing is, like, okay.
You were like, how could she not be there?
Yes. But then once she was there, I kind of, like, didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, I felt, and I was like, that's not her.
Yeah, you said that.
Well,
the doctor was like, no, that's her.
Only because, I think because when I had felt it, the other time that I was able to feel someone crowning was when I was in water. And so I think this person had less hair. So it was a different sensation than, like, this time it was, like, a lot of hair and also all the, like, birth goo that hadn't been washed away because we were not in water. So it just felt so, like, very soft. But I think that's why it was hard for me to believe, because it just felt, like, much softer than I was expecting, if that makes sense. Like, it was very, like, slimy and soft in a way that was, like, different than what I had, like, anticipated from my previous experience.
Definitely.
But finally...
She was there.
And I feel like, though, it was just... I feel like I really had to push. Like, I feel like just the head and the shoulders and the whole...
Oh, yeah.
It really felt like she was just coming, like, centimeter by centimeter.
I mean, it's the reason I got so many good pictures is because it took a minute. Like, with Emerald, I got, like, one blurry picture of her, like, flying out.
I do feel like this was the best photography that we've done. Like, I feel like,
the lighting was really clear and good angles. And
yeah, because, like, with Emerald, she kind of came out too fast, and then with the other ones, you know, we were obviously, like, a lot was happening, but we still tried to take pictures, but then I feel like we just got pictures of you blocking the camera.
I'm sorry, there was an emergency.
It's okay.
I didn't do all the blocking I should have done before.
But I was happy that we got good pictures this time.
Yeah, we got it all.
Very graphic pictures we can never show anyone.
Yeah, I can't show anyone.
But I'm still personally happy to be able to see them.
I do need to back those up soon. So.
Yes.
But yes. She came out, she was very talkative right away.
That was a big difference between all of our others. I feel like none of the other kids cried at all when they were born. Not in a way where they seemed like they were like...
I mean, a little bit. They made some noise, but...
I mean, they made enough noise that they always were like... It was always clear to, like, when we had help or when it was just us, it was always clear to whoever was there that the baby was fine. But I still feel like they didn't like to say much. She was just like, the classic like wah wah wah. Like,
I was fine with that because it meant she was, you know.
Yeah, like I liked that because I immediately knew that she was like in good shape and.
Definitely.
And then they like put her right up on my chest, and she was all like slimy and like good looking now.
She has very long hair.
Yes, we still are trying to figure out because we haven't washed her yet, and so we don't know if her hair is curly or not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because with our previous youngest, we thought that he had straight hair, and then when we washed him, it like sprang up into curls.
Mm-hmm.
So that could definitely happen here. Because everyone keeps saying that she looks like me. I don't necessarily think that's true.
I think your face shape is very similar.
See, because to me, I feel like she looks like I feel like she looks a lot like one of our other kids, except that her eye shape is a little different. But her hair is so dark.
Her complexion's dark, too.
Her complexion is dark. Like, she might be darker than me.
Mm-hmm.
But her hair is, like, so dark, it's, like, almost black.
Mm-hmm.
I do think maybe it will lighten over time, though. I'm trying to remember, was Emerald's hair this dark?
I don't think so.
Like this is very dark.
The darkest I think we've gotten so far.
But it's interesting because her eyes are not, like, they're that baby blue color.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really know what color her eyes are.
Yeah. Yeah, she had a lot to say. She did grab my finger right away.
Is that every single baby we've had has grabbed onto you?
Well, no, Lilac grabbed me with her foot.
Yes, Lilac, but she grabbed onto you.
Yeah.
To thank you for scooping her out of the water.
Yes, probably. And also, she seemed to know who I was right away. I mean, she's probably heard my voice enough. So.
I think all of our babies know who you are right away. Like it's not like they're meeting a stranger. Like they've been hearing.
They've been hearing through the water, being like.
Well, exactly. I mean, they've been hearing you on the outside for like a while. But I think it's more than just that they hear you, so they're used to your voice. I think also like. While they're hearing you from inside me, they know that I know you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure, like, I feel like they can probably sense my feelings about you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, therefore, they already feel like they know you and are, like, trusting you.
Mm-hmm. She was very wet, though.
She was so moist. Well, that's the thing is, like, I don't think that Emerald, because I mean, I keep thinking, like, with our water births, of course, you know, you come out in the water, it kind of washes you as you're on your way. But Emerald wasn't this moist, though.
I don't think so, no.
I think it's just, I think that she just had a lot of that, it's called vernix.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, white, it's like the body's natural white pollution or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some babies just have more than others for, like, I don't know if there's a known reason.
Yeah. I know that, didn't you say the faster they come out?
Well, that was having to do with the moisture in their lungs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess as the baby is descending through the birth canal and they're being squeezed, it kind of squeezes the liquid out of, like, their lungs and, like, their airways and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're born really quickly, I guess they don't get quite as squeezed, and so then they tend to be a little more fluidy.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Emerald, with Lilac, I think she was very fluidy because she came out so very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So remember how she kept spitting in fluid for like days afterwards?
Yeah.
And I think that's because she just flew out so quickly, you know?
Totally.
But I think with this baby, I think maybe because I was pushing for longer, she was still really moist, but I do think like the fluid had a little bit more time to get like squished out.
Mm-hmm. But she was our biggest baby.
Shockingly. I really thought that
I was not surprised. You were looking big.
I was huge. Like, I just... No, I remember thinking that. Like, I feel like I'm just sticking out, like, so far.
But you've gone down, like, you've gone down... I mean, obviously you've gone down, but, like, you were sticking out so far, but you've deflated so much.
It is really dramatic, like, the change that I've been through. But...
Straight out. But... She was, 7'9"?
7'9", and then she was down to 7'2", I think, when we left the hospital, which, I mean, that's normal, but
Yeah.
that was just, and that's not, like, huge in the grand scheme of babies, but for us, that was big because
biggest yet.
One of our others was 7'1", and the others were all, like, 6'1" or 6'2".
Mm-hmm.
So that is a big difference to be, like,
I mean, that could be
almost
part of the extended
I do
labor.
think that's why, or the pushing.
Or the pushing, yeah.
I think probably the pushing probably was harder because she was big.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the pushing, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, with Lilac being probably, if I had to say, she was a little faster even than Kingsley. And she was only like maybe 6 pounds, 2 ounces or something, so that probably helped with her just kind of flying right out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like being, 7.5 pounds makes it harder.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. But yeah, she was looking great. Smells great. Looks great.
I love the new person smell. It's like the baseline smell of like humanity before it's been polluted.
Yeah.
Basically. I mean, probably, right?
That's true.
Like she smells so good.
Mm-hmm.
And they always try to put little hats on them in the hospital, but I'm always taking the little hats off because I actually read that smelling your baby's hair actually like triggers like oxytocin like to be released, and it like helps you bond to them, like to smell them, like it's important.
Totally.
Also, she smells good. So, although I did save the hats because the hats are cute. Like that giant bow hat they gave us.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an elite hat right there.
Absolutely. But yeah, we got her home finally.
Yes, so that was good to like get her out and home. Even though, I mean, it's a little bittersweet because I'm not planning to be pregnant again. Like, we think she's our last.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I remember, like, like in the days, like, towards the end of the pregnancy, kind of being like, aw, like, because a lot of people, I think, get really uncomfortable in pregnancy and then are like, oh, I'm so over this. I'm so ready to be done. Even though I get really uncomfortable in pregnancy, I actually love being pregnant.
Mm-hmm. And
I do think that there are some people like me, but I do think we're the minority. And probably I would hazard to guess we are the people with more kids than others. I think some people actually are so uncomfortable in pregnancy that they like have less kids than they would otherwise.
Wow.
But I feel like I'm probably more like leaning in the opposite direction. Obviously, that's not the only reason that we've had so many kids, but I do think it helps that I enjoy being pregnant.
Certainly.
But I'm also kind of glad to like get past the hurdle because there was so much stress, like thinking about, are we going to make it to the hospital and what's going to happen and like all that, that I'm really glad to be over that hump and actually like home with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is great to see her on the outside because, like, as you said, she's even better than we hoped she would be.
Yeah, she's just perfect.
And I feel like we really succeeded in the naming department, too.
All right, you've been saying this baby until now.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Do we want to talk about, like, how we picked the name?
Are you ready to reveal the name?
Well, because I know that in the previous podcast we did, I think we talked a little bit about...
We teased it.
We talked about, like, the challenges of naming a fifth baby.
Yeah.
But we were careful not to really reveal actually our thought process. And I did think it would be interesting to talk a little bit about some of the names that we considered very strongly.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought about Iris, right?
We did.
And we thought about Poppy.
We did.
And what other names did, like, think about? Like, what names did we think about? There were a few that, like, each of us liked that the other one definitely didn't like.
I like Violet.
I like Violet, too. Violet is a name that we could agree on but never used. Or, like,
yeah.
There was always, like, one reason or another not to use it.
Clementine.
Clementine's another name that we both agreed on, but then just didn't end up using.
What else?
I feel like Violet and Clementine are the two, like, names that we came the closest to using, and also that we both like very much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, with Violet, I think there were just things, that kind of held us back from using it. Like, mostly just, it's become very, very common. And for me, having something less usual was important. I know you don't really care at all whether something is usual or unusual as long as you like it. But for me, I did want something less usual.
Yes, Rob does think that.
What's... mm-hmm.
Something Rob would say.
But that wasn't the only things. I mean, I came very close. There were several times during the pregnancy where I was thinking, like, maybe we should just go with Violet. I think the real thing holding me back was that we already have a purple flower.
We do.
And even though I wanted the new baby's name to feel to me like it belongs with the other kids' names, I didn't want it to feel like it was, like, stepping on the toes of anyone else's name. Like, okay, like, Lilac is so generous that she suggested that we should name the baby Lila. And actually, so her name is Lilac Georgiana, and she suggested that we could name the baby Lila Georgia. So,
but she's very generous.
Yes.
Big open heart, doesn't get territorial over her name, wants to share the love,
So honestly, I feel like she wouldn't have minded if we did name somebody Violet. I feel like it would have been weird, though, to me, to have 2 purple flowers would seem like a little bit much. And then also, additionally, since we also have an emerald, I wouldn't want her to feel left out. Like, because then it's like we should have just named all 3 of them purple flowers.
Sure.
Which would be maybe a little too intense.
Very Prince-like.
It just seems like a little bit too close.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, I had moments with some other names where I almost wanted to go for them. Like, there was that moment just a couple days before she was born where you saw that double rainbow. Like, that was an amazing rainbow.
Oh, yeah.
And that made me almost reconsider Iris.
Mm.
Because, I mean, even though when I think Iris, my thought immediately goes to the flower. And I usually picture kind of like the purple bearded Iris that my mom had when I was a kid. But I also do know that Iris means rainbow, which I think is really cool. And I almost, like, when we saw that rainbow and it was so close to her due date, was like, oh, maybe we should have gone with Iris.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another name that has gotten surprisingly much more popular.
Iris?
Yes. It's, like, up on the list. Like, you'd be surprised how many Irises there are.
Wasn't it popular a long time ago, though?
I don't think it was ever popular. I think it was, like, used sometimes.
But it was never in the top 40, maybe.
I feel like it maybe is in the top 40 now. It's at least in the top 100 now. Like, it's surprisingly, like, it's getting up there. But to me, that's a little bit, like, of a downside. And then Clementine, I had a moment where I definitely thought, like, oh, maybe we should have gone with Clementine. Because I love that name.
Yeah, it's really cute.
It is super cute. And then, were there any names that you really, really liked that I absolutely said no to?
I don't know. Well, I can think of one in the opposite direction.
Yes, I've already thought of that one, but I'm trying to think if there was one for you.
I don't know.
Because you suggest names sometimes, and sometimes I can't even tell how serious you are.
I just know that you care so much about names, so it's funny to see your reaction.
No, but it's like I know every single pregnancy you have suggested the name Exodus.
Movement of the people.
And I've never been certain how serious you were about that one.
I would do it. I wanted to see if you would have said yes, I would have been like, remember on Arrested Development where they like it's increasingly
escalating series of dares? Of course.
That's the kind of situation that I would be setting myself up for, where it's like neither one of us wants to back down. It's just like, yes, okay, do it, let's go for it, and then we just have a person named Exodus, which I would do it.
Exodus is not a terrible name.
If you said yes, I would do it.
I actually don't think Exodus is a bad name.
Mm-hmm.
I like it alright.
Good.
I probably wouldn't use Movement of the People as the middle name.
That part was a joke. I probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's taking it too far. But no, Exodus is like, I would actually consider that. It just never felt like, I always liked that one when you suggested it, but I never liked it more than what we ended up picking instead.
Yes.
Like with Kingsley, I thought about it briefly, but like, Kingsley's better.
Kingsley's great.
But I also feel like Kingsley was a suggestion that I came up with because you suggested Mr. Powerful, which I said no to. But I feel like
that was a joke.
That was a joke, but I do feel like Kingsley is kind of the acceptable version of Mr. Powerful.
It's true. It's very commanding.
Yes.
He's taken to the role as well, personality-wise.
He really has.
Yeah.
But going back to this baby, I don't feel like there was anything that you were super pushing for.
No, I was pretty open.
You were pretty open. I mean, you liked a lot of the same things I liked, like we said, like Violet and Clementine and Poppy and Iris. And I was hesitant to do another flower, though, just because, like we said, like we already have one flower, and then if all the girls were flowers, that could be okay, although maybe a little bit matchy-matchy, but it's weird if there's two flowers and one jewel, it feels imbalanced or something. And then, what was I going to say about, so I really liked Fable, and you were absolutely against it.
Nope.
Like, you just couldn't, like, I couldn't get you to go onto that one. Even though I thought that was very cute.
Yes.
And, I liked Pharaoh, too. You seemed like you almost considered that, but you were like, not into it.
Yeah, I can't do that. Yeah, I don't think I could have gone, I definitely couldn't have gone for Fable, but I could have gone for Pharaoh, I suppose, if you'd really pushed for it. But
I ended up sort of like, you know when you have an idea and you're kind of into it for a while and then you kind of move on. Like, I'm not like sorry that we didn't go for that. Like,
was Mia and/or Ronan part of your thinking?
I was more thinking that it would be better with a PH.
Ah.
Like the ruler of Egypt.
King
Or like there were female pharaohs like Hatshepsut.
Sure.
And, like, I think technically Cleopatra was the last pharaoh of Egypt or something, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that would be a very powerful name for a woman.
Sure. I don't know. Still not my favorite, but...
I mean, I like what we ended up with much more. Just, like, I had a brief, like, infatuation with the idea of that name that I could not get you on board with.
Yeah. I don't like Fable... You kept pushing it as, like, because I'm a writer, I should like this, but,
well, because I feel like at one point you suggested Story.
That's cute.
Story's cute, but, like, Fable is cuter.
But I like Story, like, Fables by nature are fictitious. And moralistic, usually.
I guess I don't think of them that way. I was more thinking of, like, a fairy tale woodland character or something.
I don't know. You're talking to a journalist, though, so I like
factual
stories.
so you want to name someone nonfiction?
Nonfiction. Well, no,
Piece.
I don't know. I'll have to workshop that one, but I don't know.
Editorial.
Maybe. Op-ed. It's my son Colin.
Right? Well, like, okay, here would be a cute name for, like, a writer's child. Like Quill, like a quill pin.
Yeah, that's cute. But yeah, no, I couldn't go for Fable, but...
That's okay.
I like what we ended up with, though, obviously.
I feel like what we ended up with is so fantastic. It really hit all the places we wanted to hit, and then it hit them again, and it hit them harder. First of all, it's elemental. Which... I feel like if you can be named after an element, you should be.
Absolutely.
It's also musical.
It is.
It's very whimsical.
It is.
It includes a diacritical mark.
Yes.
Which I feel like is something that you've always wanted.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, like, way back, like...
Umlaut or...
I feel like way back, like, maybe, like...
Tilde.
12 years ago when we were, like, considering names for our first, I remember we thought about, like, Chloe and Zoe, and I think a part of, like, what was motivating you was that you wanted to use, like, the...
Umlaut.
Yes. So, I mean, back then, like, and I wasn't against, like, we ended up not choosing those names just for other reasons, but, like, the actual idea of using a diacritical mark I thought was kind of cool, too. If it's called for.
See, I don't think you can use a tilde unless you're from a
I think that it has
Hispanic
to be...
country.
I think it has to be, like, naturally called for. And I mean, So the name that we picked that uses the diacritical mark, it is also the name of, it's a noun, and it's a noun that appears in both French and English.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the name of a classical music piece,
Mm-hmm.
and that piece's name includes the diacritical mark. So like there's like an actual like legitimate reason.
What's the name of the diacritical mark?
The diacritical mark that we have is a circumflex.
And what is the keyboard shortcut to?
I'm gonna have to memorize that because we did have a slight struggle in the hospital when we were with the birth certificate. The birth certificate woman had to look up how to use her keyboard to like make the mark come out, because it's easy to do on like a phone or something. You just, any diacritical mark you want to make, you can just hold down the key and then a menu of marks comes up and you pick the one you want.
Yes.
But on like a more traditional keyboard, I think you have to do like a shift and then like 2 other buttons or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, I had already looked it up though, and it's totally legal in the US to use diacritical marks in names.
Good.
Because there are countries where there's actually a lot of like rules
Wow.
about what you can and can't name someone. Like a lot of countries, you're only allowed to name someone something that's a traditional name of that country, and there's a list of names, and you can actually be like declined and have to come up with a different name if the name you've chosen isn't on the list or whatever.
Right.
And a lot of countries also have lists of names that are like forbidden.
Oh wow.
For good reason though, sometimes. Like for example, in Germany you cannot name somebody at all.
Yeah.
Like it's and that's like
That
that's
would be canceled legitimately.
Yes. But I'm saying like we here have the freedom to just name people whatever we want.
Although I think there
have been some cases where people have.
Yeah.
I think we're free to name people whatever we want, but if
You're
your
not free
children
from
are
consequences from.
if your children are repossessed by the state, they can be renamed. Like, so you're thinking of, there was a case I remember reading about a few years back where there were some children that were taken into custody or taken into care, not because of what their names were, but because of, other things that were going wrong in the home. But incidentally, also...
I thought it was that they had a birthday cake made. And
well, that was how...
That they called the authorities because of
that started a cascade of events. So the people were trying to have a birthday cake made for their child but their child had a name that was very much of a very racist, like very, very Nazi figure. And the birthday cake people didn't want to like make the cake, and it was very uncomfortable, and I think they ended up calling someone. But then incidentally, over the course of the investigation, I think it turned out the children needed to be removed from the home for other reasons. It wasn't just because they had a name that was in poor taste. I think that they were being raised
it was one of many.
But anyway, I believe that they were reassigned some other names.
Yes, they were.
So, but I'm saying unless something like that happens, you can name your kids whatever you want here, including with diacritical marks.
Yeah, it's good.
But still, it was a little bit of a struggle for them to figure out how to like type it in or whatever.
Sure.
And I do think, like, as anticipated, I feel like the older generation in our family particularly was a little bit flummoxed or taken aback. But I feel like with the interesting thing, and I'm sure this is true of every generation when people are naming their kids, there's always that feeling of, like, what are you doing? Like, how... Because I remember, for example, having a conversation with my mom at one point about names, and it wasn't... And I was just, like, talking about names that I thought were cute in general, not names that I was necessarily going to name someone. And, like, I remember, like, I brought up a really nice, perfectly, very normal name, like Stella, and she was like, don't name someone that, So it's just, I feel like every generation has their own perspective on names, you know what I mean?
Wait till our kids start naming people.
Like, our grandparents were giving birth and being like, let us call her Karen. Just all of the, like, most...
Michael,
yes. Well, I feel like our age is probably the last wave of Michaels.
William,
Richard already, I think, was... That's, like, our parents, not
maybe that's
us.
a little older, yeah.
There was, like, one person I feel like I've known a couple Richards that were our age, but not many. Like, we were... The wave of Richards has gone down. I feel like Michael was going pretty strong at our point, and, like, there's no babies named Michael.
Not today, no.
I feel like it's funny because it's like, yeah, now if you meet a baby named like Justin, you'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like when we were being born, we practically expected someone to be named Justin.
Yeah, sure.
You know, or like Ashley or Nicole. And those are all names that our parents picked. No, not literally, but like people of their generation, you know. But I feel like still they're going to be shocked. But I think at this point, I mean, they're expecting to be shocked by us.
Yeah.
They're just holding your breath.
Hey, like I said last time, no matter how you feel, you could have felt a lot worse. So you have no idea what you've been spared.
We could have actually named her Exodus.
That's right. And how would you have felt then?
Exactly.
You really would.
You have to call and tell your friends that your new grandchild.
Yeah, you're the one that has to make that call. I think the name we picked is lovely.
Oh, the name we picked is lovely. I did have like a slight pang of like one name we didn't get to use though today. What? Remember when we thought about naming her Bear?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Bear is a really good name that we will now never get to use.
Although we do have a bear.
We do have a child that like their nickname is like a bear, partially bear associated. So
I hear Bear, I think of this person.
So do I, but I do think Bear. I think for like a cute little girl, Bear would be a great name.
Oh sure.
I hope that someone else uses it now that I've released it to the universe.
Yeah.
Because it's very cute.
Totally.
Yes. But anyway, I do love the name we picked. I love it like more all the time too, which is good because I feel like there's the risk of loving something and then the more you use it, the more you're like, oh. Yeah. But this is the opposite for me.
Do you want to say it?
Do you want to say it?
Well, okay, so I want to make sure that, because I feel like I think the first name has one more syllable than you say it with.
I say the 3 syllables. I just say one of them very quietly.
Okay. Well, why don't you say it
then? Why don't you say it? Or we could say the nickname first.
Oh, sure.
Because, see, well, to go back to kind of reveal our thought process, all through the pregnancy, I had this nickname in mind. Even as we were considering various names, I knew what I wanted to call her. And, like, in my head, have always been calling her this.
Yes.
And, like, it's just, well, it was her element. It was her color. I knew it was her. But how we were going to get there, we considered various pathways.
Are you waiting for me to say it?
I am waiting for you to say it. Well,
why?
Say the nickname. Or you just play the extremely explicit, extremely inappropriate A$AP Rocky song to introduce
That's going to get a copyright strike on YouTube, I'll guarantee it. Alright, so it's Goldie.
I'm so excited. Like,
what a good name.
It's such a good name. And I'm so glad that she's so dark because I feel like the contrast.
Yeah, it's a nice contrast.
Like, the contrast between, like, her, like, features and her name is so good.
Yep. So, her full name is first name, middle name. You'll see where the nickname comes from. Reverie Gold.
Yes.
Now, the reason I was hesitant to say it is only because in my mind I was saying each syllable distinctly. Reverie. But then when I heard you say it a couple of times, I heard it more reverie. I
think you could say it either way. I think you could say reverie or you could say reverie.
Reverie.
I think it's just like
that's more
how
2
much
syllables.
I'm thinking 3 syllables. One of the syllables is just very
boom boom.
Reverie.
Boom boom boom. Boom boom. I don't know. Both sound fine to me. I was afraid to say it out loud again after I heard you say it, because it sounded like you were pushing it together more than I was, and I guess I had to reconfigure in my mind how I was saying it.
To me, it's kind of like with Emerald.
Yeah,
Emerald is 3 syllables, but when I say it sounds like 2 syllables.
Yeah, I say
like I say Emerald, but when I think about it or when I write it down, it's 3 syllables. Clearly, it's Emerald. Yeah. It's just one of the syllables is very fast. The same thing for reverie.
I guess that's true.
One of the syllables is just very fast.
Maybe I just break her name up more in my mind because of the diacritical mark.
I think the diacritical mark actually...
It's almost like an extra letter that you have to think about because you like the E with the hat on top.
I think technically the diacritical mark is telling you to break it up more. Like, I think that is its actual linguistic function, too. Like, it's telling you to, like, stress... It's telling you to stress that E a little bit more. How would a French person say it, do you think? I think pretty much just reverie.
What, say it?
Reverie.
Reverie. Reverie.
Reverie.
Reverie. So you're still saying it just was quiet?
I'm saying it, just I'm saying that one syllable just kind of quickly.
Okay.
But so we have the IE ending
Yeah.
from the first name, and then we have the obviously gold from the middle name, so we've got Goldie. Putting it together that way.
That is great.
It's really good.
I like how, flowing the first name is and how, sudden the middle name is.
Yes, well, and that was the thing that it took us a while to get to just being like, okay, we could just use gold, just boom, as the middle name.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I wasn't sure, is that too abrupt or something? And then I realized I really like it. Because I like that it's undiluted. It's just gold. It's just the thing. Because, trying to get to the nickname, we thought about other sort of gold type of things. Is there another name that has this as the, but I like being more direct in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, well, especially since our other girls are also a specific color. I like that she's for real, a specific color.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Now I have to get some gold jewelry and some emerald jewelry.
I know. It's a real need at this point.
Yes.
She's going to obviously need some gold jewelry too.
Obviously.
You can see that one coming.
Of course.
But I'm very excited about her name. I actually think that Goldie might be our most popular name, though, that we have for the kids. Just if you're looking at, I feel like it's one of those names that's, on the rise.
Yeah, but it's not, official name. It's nickname.
Yes, but I'm just saying I think there are people that are named Goldie, there's more Goldies than there are Emeralds or Lilacs.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I feel like it's very, upwind of the trend or whatever, but, I feel like it's good. I wonder, when she will know that that's her name.
I don't know.
I've been making an effort to, use it more when I talk to her.
Yeah, I really gotta, start saying it out loud more for all of her benefits, just so she hears it. Also, the file in my mind that contains that's the market on the tab that says baby, it's still Kingsley inside that folder, so it's
you have to make a new folder.
I need to make a new folder. When I think of the word baby, I have to be baby is Goldie, not baby is Kingsley. Yeah, it happens with every child.
Well, and it happens with too, I've sometimes called her a he.
Yes, I do that all the time.
Because it's I'm so used to the baby being a boy, more recently.
Although Kingsley looks gigantic now compared to her.
There's something that happens every time I have a new baby where, the last baby who, up until that point I keep thinking is, so small, suddenly looks so, robust.
Yes.
He just looks yes, and he's so heavy.
Yes.
He's very hard to lift, and he's, so, thick and strong.
Yeah.
Which, I'm glad he's, obviously very, healthy and thriving. It's just, it's a little bit shocking how someone can change so much just in comparison to another person that's a different size. So when you have someone that's sized extra tiny, everyone else looks huge.
She is, I feel like she's very mellow in her personality, even though she says a lot sometimes. She definitely saves up for something important to say, but usually she's pretty chill, pretty mellow, I feel like. Well,
her emotions are very much on the surface, I feel like. I feel like she, cries, sobbing, saltwater tears if, if she's made to wait when she's decided that she, it hurts her feelings when, if I can't get to her as fast as I need to or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, she is very chill. Like, didn't you say she was like the earliest baby to ever just like fall asleep on you?
Well, I know that because on my Instagram, I scroll back and I think I have a picture of, if not all, most of our kids the first time that they ever fell asleep on me. And usually the date is like a month or more after they're born. Because like before that, they'll go with me and they might even be happy to be in my arms while they're not with you. But there's no way they're going to go to sleep on me. And it's like takes an extreme amount of like getting used to them being in my arms. And I know I don't have any milk. And all I can offer you is companionship and love. So it's like after we get over that hump, then they can like fall asleep on me. But with her, first day, she was already like, for like probably one of the first times I held her, she like completely went to sleep. And I was like, this is amazing. This has never happened to me before with any of our kids. Like, she was so like calm and like, she was just like, oh good, you're here, sleep. Now, she doesn't like to stay asleep sometimes. Was she smiling?
She smiled at me when I laughed, and she like smiled at me and smiled. She's like asleep, but she just smiled at me.
That's cute.
I know people say that babies don't really smile and that it's gas, but that's a lie. Babies totally smile.
Absolutely.
Don't believe what they try to tell you.
I won't believe it yet. But yeah, I'm really happy with the name. People were shocked. I'm so glad. But a lot of people are shocked in a good way. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's like, I feel like people realize it's too late, so they can only say positive things.
Yeah, like people, like colleagues and people I know through work who I've informed of the name are when they comment on it, they are, wow, wow, what a name, that's great.
Yeah, well, and I think too, I mean, I think, like I said, since Goldie is kind of like on trend or whatever, like,
yeah.
Like one of the doctors in the hospital said that one of her patients was going to name somebody Goldie and then changed her mind at the last minute, and she was disappointed. So she was like excited to see that somebody was going for it.
Yes.
But yeah, I love her name. I love her, obviously. She's fantastic.
Yeah. I love the, not just the contrast and how the middle name and the first name sound, but like also the meaning. Like,
she's a golden daydream.
Yeah, the daydream is so like ethereal, and the gold is so like strong and like you said, elemental, and yeah, just a good combination all around.
Well, I like too that she has options, because I mean, obviously we want to call her Goldie, and so I mean, hopefully that's just gonna stick. But if she did want to go by Reverie, that's also a lovely name. Like, it's gorgeous.
It's funny because one of our kids is like
very set on only calling her Reverie.
No, she's not going for the.
She's like flexible. It's funny, but I don't mind. Like, it doesn't bother me if she calls her that.
It's one of the names to call her, so it's fine. I don't care.
But I also feel like Rev is like a very cute nickname, and that would fit with like, so even though she's a girl, and then like this fits more with the boys. Both of our boys have names that are like a title. Like, we've got like a captain, and we have like a Kingsley, which is like a king, you know, obviously. So it would be kind of funny if it's like
Rev.
Captain.
That is funny.
King and Rev.
Totally.
But also, if you go with the French, though, then that just means dream.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is also very cute.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's a great meaning, and yeah, I do love how it's so ethereal. Because I mean, that's what I really wanted. I mean, if you look at our girls' names, like Emerald and Lilac and Reverie, like, I really like, I want to feel like they're just like characters that have like emerged from like a fairy tale wilderness, you know?
Yeah. Well,
and I feel like we have achieved that.
They have. They definitely have. She's been here the whole time. She's hardly said anything.
She's been sleeping.
I don't know. She's making mouth motions.
She's doing that baby stretch. I love the way that newborns kind of scribble around. Well, and it always makes me think of like when she would move like inside my belly. Mm-hmm. Like, you know how that, like, she would move? Like, you ever look at her moving now and you can kind of see what she was doing when she was in there? Like, she was probably just like doing that little like wriggle.
Mm-hmm. In her little baby straitjacket.
Yes, we've got the sleep sack going. Apparently, they've updated the recommendation on swaddling. Now we're only supposed to do it for 8 weeks.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
It has been canceled.
Sheesh. They don't want us to get any rest, do they?
No, between that and the bassinet, it's like, who are you kidding? We'll never sleep again.
Right?
Babies do not like safe sleep spaces.
No.
And babies do not like having their arms out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, don't they feel like they're falling or something?
Yes, but I think really it's just like, it's probably safer not to swaddle them, so they just keep reducing their age recommendation.
Yeah.
So now it's just like down to the point where it's like you might as well almost not be doing this. But we can try to let it help us sleep for a couple weeks before we enter the new zone of just not doing it.
Have you seen they make those for adults? The sleep sacks.
Are they with the swaddle or without?
I think your head's just sticking out the top, and they're pretty much.
How do you get yourself into it?
You kind of wiggle. I saw a video once. You kind of wiggle into it.
Okay, is it like elastic? Like, is it like, okay.
It's just literally a sleep sack.
I mean, I could see that because like you like the feeling of like firm pressure.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you could feel a little bit claustrophobic, I guess.
Well, that's kind of like.
And if there was an emergency, you might be in trouble.
Yeah, I'm just saying there are some.
If you had to get out of the house quickly, you might be out of luck.
But I can see how like for like anxiety or various things, maybe that would be like the key. Like.
Although I did see someone else that said that they have a very small frame and they bought an extra large size dog bed because they like the feeling of it encasing around them.
I mean, that's legit though, because remember that Dogatot thing that we used to have until it was canceled.
Right. Exactly.
That was basically like a dog bed but for babies. But
we all just want to return to the womb somehow.
I think she's a pretty good sleeper. We're just working on the idea of staying asleep in the bassinet. Instead of having your eyes fly open when you realize that you're alone. On a safe flat.
Cold.
On your back.
Flat.
On a safe flat surface.
Hard. Unforgiving surface. Nothing like mother.
It's not unforgiving. There's like a centimeter of foam in that mattress.
Absolutely. Just kick your feet up.
No, I mean, I like that we have a nice safe place for her. So I would definitely collapse if you try.
No, but I'm saying, like, if there were an equivalently sized one that I could get into. Like,
you're saying you won't buy the king size.
Like, if there was one the size of this room, and that was like the flat surface I had to just be on there.
Although I maintain that if you're tired enough, you could sleep anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I did sleep between two of my contractions.
Mm.
It was like a micro nap. It was just one, like, brief sleep. But I was so tired, I just slept for like maybe 30 seconds. But I'm just saying, this proves my point. If you're tired enough, you can sleep anywhere, anytime.
That's true.
But if you're a baby who naps intermittently throughout the day, you need more comfort.
Microdosing naps?
Exactly.
She does take a lot of tiny naps.
She does. I feel like the kids are a little bit impatient because they're also excited about her. They just want to like hold her and interact with her, but she's always just sleeping or eating.
Yeah.
Which I tried to warn them about, but I still feel like it's like hard for them.
Yeah, it is.
And it's interesting too because even though, you know, we had Kingsley when they were all, like the rest of them except for him were here. Mm-hmm. I still feel like they all are much more like, somehow they don't remember him being a newborn as well, I think, or something.
Mm. Yeah. That makes sense.
Or they were just like less, maybe just because they were closer in age to him, they were less engaged in like wanting to like hold the baby and stuff like that. I definitely feel like there's jealousies and like feelings about like who gets to hold her and how much time they get, etc.
Oh, sure.
Which, I mean, I can't blame them.
Yeah.
She's very nice to hold.
She's extremely nice to hold. I almost don't want to give her back whenever it's time to give her back. The only reason I give her back is because she just gets very upset not being with you. When
she gets hungry, she gets upset.
She fell asleep on me this evening. She said she was snoring.
She was. I heard like a little. Now she's having a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Which, this is a weird thing to say, and I feel like people that don't like dogs might take this the wrong way, but I mean, I like dogs, so I'm allowed to say this. I do think that sounds that babies make when they're asleep sometimes sound a lot like sounds that dogs make when they're asleep.
Yes.
And I don't know, maybe it's just like because they're both very like primal, like just like the little whimper type of like noises.
Yeah.
You know?
Her face is changing a lot while she's asleep.
Yes. It's like
twitching and
whatever
grimacing.
Whatever she's dreaming about, it's like all on the surface there.
She can like whatever that is.
No.
But it's funny because on the ultrasound we saw her doing the mouth motions and the eating, and when she came out she was like, definitely I saw that same like.
She was ready to eat the second she was born.
Yeah, she was practicing.
Like she was like, all right, get it out.
Yes.
Right. Very hungry.
Ready for the big side to ride one more time.
Yes.
Putting in a reservation for the next few years.
Oh yeah. I am very interested to see what will happen with her breastfeeding wise.
Just how long she'll go since she's the last one.
Exactly, because I mean, I never have put an exact, like, hard limit on how long I was going to go. I've just kind of always just, you know, played it by ear. So I don't know, will I reach a point where I'm done before she reaches a point where she's done?
I don't know, it's hard to say.
It is. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, I'm just now, I think, getting to the point where, like, my nipples are not feeling as surprised as they did a few days ago, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always do feel like it is a lot of work to breastfeed, like, a newborn.
Yes.
There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of, like, it's just, like, putting out a lot. It's like I saw a poem on Instagram, which I feel like could be offensive to some people, but I didn't take it, like, I don't feel like we have to take this in an offensive way. I feel like we can just think it's funny. I saw a poem, it was like, this is my body, take and eat. And then the line under that is like, Jesus. And then the line under that is like, also me while breastfeeding.
I mean, you literally are feeding someone with your body. I mean, it's producing food. Right.
And it's like, I mean, the reason I'm saying like that could offend some people is that it's like, I'm not like trying to compare myself to Jesus because I'm breastfeeding, like but I do feel like it's like, it is a funny, like, I found it to be a funny arrangement for it.
Yes, absolutely.
But it is a lot that you're like putting out physically, and then it gets so much easier, you know, later. Mm-hmm. But that's why it'll be interesting to see how long we go for, because like once it's easy, it's like, who knows what can happen.
Right. Well, they all seem to like it.
It's very delicious. If we're ever going to make breast milk ice cream, this is our last chance to do so.
Absolutely.
And we just have to collect a lot of milk.
Because you make gelato.
I mean, what is... What exactly is the technical recipe difference, do you think?
I don't know for sure, but I think it's the milk instead of the cream that you use as the base. I don't know, there's probably other differences too.
Did you say it does or does not have eggs in it?
It does not. You kept saying that. It does not.
Because I think that's why I've always been afraid of gelato. I'm thinking of custard.
Custard, yeah. I'm not talking about custard. No one's talking about custard. Or frozen yogurt or froyo. None of that stuff. Gelato.
So you're saying that we should make breast milk gelato?
If it's possible, I don't know. Is it so, like, is it just, can you only do that with certain milks separated out?
I mean, I don't know how much, like, cream to milk ratio you need for the gelato or whatever.
But is human milk, is it mostly just cream, or is it?
I think it depends on the human that's making it. My milk is pretty creamy.
Yeah.
I think some milk is less creamy, maybe.
Because with, like, cow's milk or whatever, the way they do it, it's like, it's whatever is on the top and they scrape it off, right?
Sure, but you could do that with human milk, too. I mean, like, if you look at, like,
you got enough of it, I guess.
I mean, if you look at the milk that I pumped, like, once it's been in the fridge for, like, a few hours, you'll see where the, like, the cream line is. You could theoretically skim that off to, like, use for things.
I see.
I feel like if we ever did make human milk ice cream, we would need to, like, throw our ice cream maker away afterwards.
It wouldn't be human food safe anymore.
We would at least have to, like, I don't think that any guests would want to eat any ice cream that we make if they knew that we made it in the same ice cream maker that we made.
After they take the first bite.
Like, the batch of ice cream that I made before this one was like, you would be like, what?
Forgot to clean it, sorry.
Yeah, no, I feel like people would be uncomfortable about that.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, if you think
about it. Or we could
it,
only make breast milk ice cream out of that.
I don't know if I'm up to providing that much milk.
Yeah, probably.
We could start like a black market service of like selling breast milk ice cream.
Okay, definitely have to cut this out. Give away the whole game.
No, I would never do that because first of all, I struggle to like produce enough milk.
You couldn't keep up with production.
I would never. Yeah, I'm like barely able to make enough milk for like to feed one baby, let alone to like produce ice cream. But
so we can't install a drive-through window yet.
We definitely should. Also, I do think the idea of like weirdly eating someone else's breast milk is gross. So.
Yeah. Didn't somebody try to do that one time?
I think there was an actual store that opened.
It got shut down pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think it opened and closed.
Yeah.
Like maybe within the same day or a few days or something. Which I don't know. Was it
bold plan?
Were they actually trying to like as a business do that, or was it like
you know
when people have like an art like installation? Was it like an art like happening or whatever?
It did not last long, whatever happened, but yeah, probably frowned upon.
Yeah.
For good reason. I don't think people generally should be doing this.
Yeah, well, it's just, I mean, it does feel like not a good idea at all. Like, if I went to someone's house and they were like, would you like some breast milk ice cream, I'd be so scared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just about the ice cream, but about them as a person.
Yes.
It's one of those things where it's such a, like, red flag about just, like, even if that's the only weird thing that has happened, now there's gotta be other things.
I definitely want to try it for us.
Yes, but that's different.
I don't want to sell it or give it to guests.
It's very personal.
Housewarming gifts.
Yes. I've heard of people making it into soap also.
That's fun.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, you know how you can buy, like, goat milk soap or whatever from, like, the Whole Foods?
Oh, yeah.
It's, like, person milk soap.
You should trademark that before somebody steals it.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It comes a little close to, like, I don't know, selling your own organs or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I feel like, too, because I have to work so hard to produce the milk, it's not just that I think it's kind of gross to, like, think about from the other side of, like, consuming someone's milk randomly. It's also, like, it's too much output for me.
But it is nutritious.
It's very nutritious. It's just right for the baby that I'm making.
And it tastes good. I've tasted it. So.
I mean, I think it's very sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it turned spicy while I was pregnant.
According to one review.
According to one review, it was too spicy. I think it does when you're pregnant get like saltier or something.
Well, I feel like he knew that you were pregnant before.
Well, because I remember that he had said, like, before we even realized I was pregnant, he had said, like, that it was, like, he said it was too spicy. And then, like, that was, like, very shortly before we were, like, ooh, positive test.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he definitely knew.
Yes, he did.
Someone was in there. It's so wild that, like, an actual real person can just, like, grow.
This time last week, she was still in there.
Yes, like, just, like, floating in, like, the liquid inside my body, and now she's just, like, out here in the air with us.
I think she looks remarkably like her ultrasound photos.
She does, but ultrasounds have just, like, improved greatly. Yeah. I guess I am a little bit surprised at just how much hair she has, even though in the ultrasound we could see her hair. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to be hairy. She's, like, really hairy.
Totally.
I think it helps that her hair is so dark that makes it look even more pronounced, too.
Definitely.
And she has, like, eyebrows and eyelashes that are already colorful.
Mm-hmm. She's got hairs all over the place.
Yes, it's interesting how I think that those hairs kind of recede over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's always interesting how they're very, all the little hairs are very visible on her because she's so dark. So, like, you can see the little hairs, like, on, like, her forehead and stuff. That, like, I feel like will eventually kind of, like, rub away. We should maybe wash her hair soon, now that her...
No.
You don't want to wash her hair soon?
No.
Just want to live in suspense?
Yeah.
For how long?
A little longer.
I was just thinking, because now that her belly button thing has fallen, now that her belly button's here, now that umbilical stump has fallen away,
yeah,
we now are able to wash her in.
Yeah. It's so gross.
But you don't want to wash her yet.
Oh, yeah. I like living in this in between.
Yeah, no, I'm not like in a rush. I'm just saying eventually it will
wash
be.
her. We'll always have to wash.
Are you saying that once we start? That's an interesting way of looking at it. No, I mean, I'm not in a huge rush, but I am interested to see if she's gonna curl.
I just think it's cool that, like, you picture before, at least I did, that, like, it'd be like so gross you'd want to, like, wash the baby right away, but, like, it's not. I mean, they wiped her down, of course, and everything, but, like...
No, she's just, like, the most pure, like, thing in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
She smells fantastic.
Yeah.
Her skin is all soft. Her hair is so soft.
Yeah.
No, I'm not in a rush to wash her. I'm just saying eventually.
Yes, eventually.
I do want to know if she has curly hair.
Yeah, I guess we won't know until we wash her.
I'm just remembering how that one time when we washed Kingsley, he turned into a different person.
Yes.
A person with super curly hair.
True.
I just want to know if he's still our curliest person.
Yeah.
Or if somebody else is like...
You seemed really curly tonight when I was brushing his hair.
He's very curly.
Yeah. His hair's long, too.
It is. I mean, I think, like, when you're in the bath and you're pouring the water over it, you can really see how long it is. It's actually very long. It just doesn't look as long because it's all, like, curled up.
Coils up, you know.
Yeah. It's super cute, though. Bounces towards the sky.
You should keep going.
I like how when we're, like, at the park or something, if he'll go, like, behind a structure or something and I can't see him, sometimes I can just see his hair bouncing up above, like, the line of sight or whatever. It's helpful for spotting him.
Totally.
It's just, like, I am curious to see what's going to happen with hers.
Yeah.
But I can wait a little longer. Especially since we have to rebuy a baby bathtub anyway.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, I was really unhappy with the one we had before, so I got rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, because it was really hard to clean. Remember how it had all those, like, it was just that one piece of molded plastic, but it had all those crevices?
Mm-hmm.
Remember how it would always, like, I feel like every time we used it, the next day it would just be like, I don't know, lint or hairs or like whatever would fall into the crevices, and then every time you want to use it, you have to, like, wash it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt really inconvenient and terribly designed.
It was, yeah.
Which is why I threw it away, even though I knew that we might need it. So...
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's good news for you, because we have to get another tub before we can wash her. So.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this next episode we record, we'll know what kind of hair she has.
In case anyone's, like, sitting on the edge of their seat waiting.
I mean, it's the only, like, piece of information we have left to reveal.
I feel like we revealed
we did the big reveal. She was here, and then the name and everything.
Exodus, remember other people purchased?
Yep. Happy that she's here.
Okay.
Get you.
Just a little random reggae to announce our move into our new Rastafarian lifestyle.
We're all moving into the big van.
Yes. Obviously. Will we even fit in the big van?
I don't know. Probably not.
Barely.
Yeah.
Weren't you trying to tell me today that there's no car that can fit more than the number of people that we have now?
How could it?
I thought that there was like an 8-passenger van or something.
That's not possible.
How is that not possible? Could you not do, well...
Unless you had two benches of the same width. I think the thing that gets tricky is that it tapers near the back.
Well, and you have to somehow be able to get to the back.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why ours maxes out where it does, is because in theory, if you kept the middle row and the back row identical, then there's no way that you could like have the car be that shape. It would have to like just be a straight.
Yeah, because you can seat 2 in our third row, and you can seat 3 in our middle row.
Yes.
But you don't think that you could seat 3 in a third row?
Unless you had like a van. That's just a straight.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I think there are like 8-passenger vans, like you know those big chunky ones.
With that, that car seats can all fit in, maybe.
Those big chunky ones, maybe. I bet.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
So, I mean, I think those are sometimes like like I'm thinking of like the van that like Jonathan drove when he worked at like the group home. Like I think that probably would fit like.
Sure. After 8 though, I think you are into like bus territory.
Or you just always have to drive separately.
2 cars, yeah.
Although it would be weird not to be able to fit your whole family in one car. I feel like that would be a strange feeling.
It would.
We had to like always like, I guess you just like caravan if we're going somewhere together. That would feel strange.
Yes. But I'm fine with where we're at.
Yeah, no,
we can stop here.
I'm not trying to like take out like a small like van or whatever.
Seriously.
Yeah, to get us into something larger and chunkier.
Yeah. But I'm happy she's here.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad she's here.
Mm-hmm.
I never really like got that before. Like, you know, when people are like, so-and-so's arrived and our family is now complete.
Mm-hmm.
I never really felt that before, but I feel like I finally understand that feeling.
How could we stop before we got here?
Exactly. Like, she had to be here. Like, she's magical.
Yes.
Like, I feel like she was just meant to, like, join our family.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Obviously, she felt the same way.
Yeah, she definitely did.
But thank you for coming back to the Rob Burgess Show, Ash Burgess, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon with our new special guest, a permanent guest star.
I feel like she's going to be guest starring for the next several years.
Yes.